For many people, Bitcoin is going to forever be the end-all and be-all of all cryptocurrency, and for a very simple reason. It's the thing that started the trend. This was the first big-name cryptocurrency, and as a result, it's gotten a lot of attention and a lot of popularity. And despite some big falls over the years, it's become something that people invest in to try and get rich. Even making massive computer farms to mine the coins so that they can have more of a stake in it. And for many, they think that it'll remain top form across the market. So, allow us to show you reasons why Bitcoin remains bullish. Bitcoin's status as of late. Bitcoin has seen some downside action in the past week or so, as it was rejected north of $50,000. The first cryptocurrency by market cap trades at $49,207, with a 2.1% loss in the daily chart. BTC moving sideways after rejection at $50K in the daily chart. Investors and experts are keeping a close eye on current levels. As pseudonyms trader Crypto Don Alt said, "This is where the market decides if the trend will be to the upside or the downside." Crypto Don't Alt and other traders believe this to be Bitcoin's last major resistance. Therefore, a break and hold above $50,000 could push the price towards previous highs. The U.S. Federal Reserve and other major central banks around the world have adopted monetary policies to mitigate the effects of the lockdowns and the COVID-19 pandemic. Investors were expecting a change in these policies for September. However, as QCP Capital said, the FED might move new decisions to December 2021. Thus, Bitcoin and risk assets have more room for a rally. The changes that are coming. On September 14th, the U.S. will reveal new data on their Consumer Price Index, CPI, a metric associated with inflation. This event is usually preceded and followed by volatility and will be relevant for the market to decide its trend. In addition, Bitcoin bulls managed to defeat a strong assault from the bears, accompanied by high levels of FUD news. This included attacks to crypto exchanges, the DeFi sector, and the industry as a whole with the infrastructure bills. QCP Capital believes that there will be less negative news in the medium term. Thus, Bitcoin's price action will be less affected by news events. Headline regulatory risk exhausted in the near term. We expect any significant crypto-related regulatory decisions to come only towards Q1 2022, particularly anything from the Senate Banking Committee and the SEC. QCP Capital also recorded an increase in demand with no important changes in the derivatives sector. As the image below shows, the Bitcoin rally to all-time highs in Q1 2021 was followed by a spike in funding rates for futures perpetual contracts. In that way, BTC's price action was dependent on speculators using leverage. This caused the rally to be unsustainable. At its current levels, Bitcoin-based derivatives and funding rates displayed no signs of a similar investor's behavior. In spite of a recent mini funding spike on the rally, up to 20% annualized, funding rates and future premiums in both BTC and ETH continue to be relatively low and muted. This means most of the rally has been driven by demand in physical spot rather than from leveraged speculators. This could change as Bitcoin moves into its previous highs, but it's a positive indicator as of now. QCP Capital expects more consolidation at current levels and believes the next month, especially towards the end of the year, could see less appreciation than in 2020. But given all these reasons, some might have a questionable vision of the future of Bitcoin. And that's fair because this could be something that changes not because of investors, but who is investing and what's going on with the market at the time. Bitcoin equals digital gold. The simplest scenario. Peter McCormick, host of the podcast What Bitcoin Did, considers this the trends continue scenario. It's pretty much a certainty or very much a high probability, he predicts. Bitcoin really just carries on what it's doing. More people adopt it, and the network grows in value. We'd see Bitcoin in pension funds, Bitcoin in sovereign wealth funds, and potentially Bitcoin on government balance sheets. Bitcoin's market cap eclipses that of gold. But price is only part of the story. Isaiah Jackson, author of Bitcoin in Black America, suggests that in this scenario, Bitcoin can help narrow the wealth gap. 25% of the black community is unbanked in the US, says Jackson, adding that when money is stashed under the mattress, lower-income communities are disproportionately hurt by inflation. Inflation is not born evenly, he says. Inflation kills, literally. This is why Jackson hosts regular webinars with black financial groups, spreading a message of financial empowerment through Bitcoin. Alex Gladstein, Chief Strategy Officer of the Human Rights Foundation, believes this scenario alone would be a win. Today, there are 130 million account holders of Bitcoin, and he thinks that by 2030, the total could swell to 1 billion. People think that for Bitcoin to succeed, you have to buy a cup of coffee with it, says Gladstein. That's a misconception. You do not need to buy a coffee with Bitcoin for it to succeed. Thank goodness. But while this is a fair assumption of things to come, there are some opposites to this based on what other parts of the world are doing right now. Strangled by regulation. Nigeria and India are cracking down on Bitcoin. What if the rest of the world does the same? Jason Williams, author of Hard Money You Can't F With: Why Bitcoin Will Be the Next Global Reserve Currency, argues that when countries have tried to put the kibosh on cryptocurrencies, it never really sticks. When India outlaws crypto, you just go to another country, he says. The world is fluid, and it's easy to bring your crypto business elsewhere. Prohibitions do not work, says Jackson, who thinks that if Bitcoin is banned in the US, for example, that would make it even more scarce, potentially causing an increase in demand and therefore price. See also 1920s era prohibition or the war on drugs. And yet, perhaps it's true that regulatory attempts by individual nations are doomed to backfire. But there is one specific scenario that gives even Williams a mega bull, a moment of pause. Unified global regulation, he says. That's the greatest risk. If the world leaders gather to create a unified policy on crypto, like the Paris Climate Agreement, and all agree to smack it down with draconian measures, then that impact could be devastating. But that's going to be really difficult, says Williams, because even when the world tries to work together, it's tough to get on the same page, to get buy-in from all the key parties, or to get consistent follow-through. See also the Paris Climate Agreement. A reserve currency? This is something of a compromise scenario. A lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around Bitcoin becoming the global reserve currency, says Anthony Pompolino, or Pomp as he's widely known in crypto circles, adding, but they see it as a much more viable path to simply be the reserve currency of the internet. When you buy anything over the internet, says Pomp, from a user experience, the underlying currency doesn't really make a difference. You click a button, or you scan a QR code. The currency is irrelevant, whether it's dollars, RMB, or Bitcoin, or anything else. It's still the same user experience, says Pomp, adding that the internet has less transaction friction. But that's not necessarily the case in the analog world. Clicking to buy a book on Amazon is one thing. Buying a slice of pizza is something else. So Bitcoin could evolve into the internet's natural currency. When you use something that has finite settlement like Bitcoin, it allows for geographic agnostic commerce in a digital environment, Pomp says. That would give local merchants some added upside, global customers. Since most merchants are already pivoting to reach a more global audience, Pomp says embracing Bitcoin would help them skate where the puck is going. The future of Bitcoin. The great irony is that regardless of the scenarios predicted, there is no one who can truly know where the future of Bitcoin is headed. Many said it would never be a thing. They were wrong. Others said it would be the biggest thing around by now. They were wrong. The crypto market is one that is incredibly volatile and can change on a whim, which Bitcoin has proved many times. So we'll just have to be patient and see how the market goes to see what scenario will befit what Bitcoin will become. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at Bitcoin and how it might just remain big on the digital coin market? Or go and fall flat on its face eventually? What side do you personally prescribe to in terms of Bitcoin's future? Are you already someone who invests in Bitcoin as a whole? Or are you waiting for the right and less risky moment to put your money into it? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.